I'm gonna tug on my dongle. Well, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Automotive Insight. Today we've got a 2003 Lexus SC430. Customer states tire light is on. Now hold on, I can hear some of you now complaining that, Goose, we've already seen you do 2 Toyota tire sensor videos. Do we really need a third one? I mean, we get it, man, you do them. Yes, we do a lot of them. But the reason that we're filming this one is that this system is a fair bit different, and there's a couple of extra steps that you have to go through. And I'll be completely honest with you, I spent hours on this car trying to figure out exactly how it worked and what I was going to do to make it work. So let's get into it, and I'll regale you my stories of defeat along the way as we do this. So here's our DTC. If you are familiar at all with the codes that you typically get now, that is not one of them. So that was the first thing I noticed. But bottom line is we have a problem with number 2. So let's go into data list. I might cut you out here because this thing has ridiculously slow communication. All right, so that took like 4 minutes. On our data list here, if you remember back to that other video where we gave you like the basics, we're looking for a number 2 ID fault, but ordinarily these would all be either 7 or 8 digit numbers, but ours are colors. So that was the first thing I thought was kind of bizarre. So then if we go back, we don't have communication with number 2. So number 2, gold. If we scroll down to our number 2 inflation pressure, this says 62, and the rest of them are at 34, 33 PSI. So let me just tell you what I ended up finding out on this. The ECU basically just remembers the last known tire pressure that it was. And so even if it's not working, it's going to make it look as though it is working. And I found that out the hard way because they all were reading like 33 when they came in. And so I was like, well, maybe I just need to add some air pressure to it. So I added air and nothing changed. But that was one problem that we had right away. So anyway, I'm just going to show you what we found is the easiest thing of how to figure out which one it is, and then we'll talk about what sensors to use and how to go about programming them. All right, so I'll do what I can, the best that I can to get you in here to show you what I'm doing, and I'll explain why I'm using 2 tools. So this is the scan tool that's hooked to the car. I have it on data list, and then this is a TPMS activation tool that you can put up against the sensor and scan it for to see if it's working or not. The reason that having both of these tools is going to be helpful and save you time is because this car is unique in the sense that not only does it have colors for ID numbers, it has a TPMS antenna in each wheel well. So if all you're using is this, you might not be able to see if you've got a bad antenna. That sensor might be working fine. If you've got a bad antenna, you're not going to know. Another reason is because unlike most Toyota, Lexus products, these sensors only put out a signal if the tire pressure has, according to service data, has dropped or increased by 6 PSI. And so I'll show that now. We got our car hooked up here in our TPMS activation tool. And so we'll try to activate the sensor. Now it tells you to release pressure. So basically what's happening is this thing's not doing anything right now. So if we just start letting pressure out of it, we're going to see it. If this is working, we'll see it on here. And if this and the antenna are working, we will see a change on here. So let's try that. There we go. So it finally worked. So we got 19.6 PSI. I don't know where you are. 19.6 PSI here. And if you'll notice, this top number here is our sensor, is what this is reading as our ID number. Now, if you remember back to that first video that we did, I said they were either 7 or 8 digit numbers. Even so, it says it's white on this. We know also that our antenna's working because we know that this is number 1 because it dropped down to 20 PSI. So you're going to have to, you don't have to, but make a note of this number, because what I ended up finding out is that this number basically just means white. So we'll write this number down. We're going to put 4 sensors in this car, by the way. But we're going to write this number down. We know that this means white, and white is on our left rear. So we'll go around and we'll do that to the rest of them. And whichever one is not responsive, that'll be the one that we know the car thinks is a problem. So let me go around and do that to the other ones, and I'll get back to you. All right, so through our testing, we found out that the left front is the culprit. Now, in our case, I actually was able to get a number off of this, but remember back when I had said that it takes a 6 PSI change before it'll do anything? This one was like 25 PSI before it would change, but you see the gold color that's marked on it. Luckily for us, this is an OEM one. If you look on the sensor, and if you remember back to that one video, I'll do the best I can to try to show you. It's hard to see even in person, but on the top, there is a 5-digit number. And if you remember what our sensors were showing us, they were showing 6-digit numbers. Now, our bottom number is a 7-digit number. And again, we're looking for a 6-digit number, but what I found is it only uses the last 6 digits of this bottom number. So even if we couldn't have gotten a number off of it, you can use the last 6 of this longer number here. Now, if you have an aftermarket one that doesn't have the number on it, I don't really know what to tell you. I know that my tool will let you create a number, but I don't know. It must just randomly pick like red, blue, gold, white. It doesn't give you an option. It just creates a number. So if you find yourself in that situation, you might just have to program 4 different numbers into your blank sensor in order to get the one that you need. But in our case, it works. So let me get the new one in, and there's still a couple more steps on this, and then we'll be done. All right, we're in our TPMS ECU now. We had to swap scan tools because I couldn't make the other one work. This one might not work either. I don't think you need to do this, but just in case you do, we're going to go do special function. We'll go into ID registration. Okay. Okay, we're going to choose main set. Okay. And it's telling you what to do. Okay. All right, so now we're going to go around and register these tires. Now, I set these at 40 PSI so that by the time they get down to where they need to be in order to register, it should take it to about where the tire pressures should be. All right, we got one registered. So now we'll go do that with the other ones, and we'll go on with our lives.
Like what the diesel was showing. I was trying to get the.
As soon as you see the number of registered tires change, I mean, we had nothing to begin with. Now we're at 2. So you're just watching for that number to go up till you get to 4. All right, we're done. So now, hit OK. We'll back out of special functions. We'll read our fault codes. We should have none. We'll go back. We'll go into data stream. Let me pick my things here. All right, so we're registering pressure now. It took more than what it should have to drop them down. Let me go set the tire pressures. We're almost out of the woods. We'll show you what the next step here is in a second. All our tires are reading pressure. Now, one thing to note, the tires sensors that we used, they operate differently than the ones that came on it originally. The ones that came on it originally only changed if it was like 6 psi of difference. These just transmit all the time. And I've found that doesn't create a problem with the car at all. So our lights out. We've got no DTCs. Everything's working, but 0304 Toyota 4Runners, Lexus SC models, and maybe a couple other cars. If you've got the nerve and the audacity to try to pull a code on a car, you have to do a 0-point calibration, no matter what. So, we're almost done. We'll back out of here, and we will go into ABS. Okay. We will go to special function. We will go to reset memory. Okay. 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 And then we'll go to test mode. Okay. 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 Obviously read all the stuff it's telling you to do. But basically it wants it to be flat and the steering wheel be straight. And then you're done. Okay. We're done. So now I'm going to cycle my key. I'm going to tug on my dongle. Start the car. We're done. So that's that. Well, all right. Well, that's all there is to it, guys. This, I kid you not, I probably have about 5 hours worth of time invested in this car. This is actually the customer's second time back for the same problem. I actually fixed it the first time, but then the first one I put in was sensor number 4, and it stayed gone for about 20 minutes, and then I got a code for number 2 sensor, which was the one that we did today. So you may be asking yourself, I've seen your guys' channel. Why didn't y'all just use OEM parts like you normally do? Well, they're hard to come by. This is a very obscure thing that Toyota I don't know that Toyota ever did it. I haven't seen it. And if Lexus did it, they only did it for a couple of years. Each of those part numbers, each color, red, white, blue, gold, is its own part number. And at this point, that car is 20 plus years old. It is not uncommon for manufacturers to stop making parts for them. So we were having a heck of a time trying to find any OEM parts. So then the alternative is Denso. Can we find a Denso part? So we did find Denso parts. They're pretty much the same price as an OEM part, and they were weeks out ordering it from like densodirect.com, I think. If you go check out Rock Auto, if I remember right, the only thing that they had that wasn't a universal sensor was a standard motor product. And I don't have any luck with standard motor product electrical parts, unless, of course, they sponsor us, in which case they're great. So what we ended up using was a universal fit one. It is an Easy Sensor by Schrader. Schrader is an OEM manufacturer for some brands. I'm pretty sure Ford uses Schrader stuff in their cars. And they make two different kinds that work on just about everything. And that part number that we used was 33700. That's the metal valve stem ones. And then there's a 33500 that is a rubber valve stem one. But I've had great luck with those. The only caveat to those is you have to have a programming tool. So let's get into the tools that we used. So this is the launch TPMS activation tool. This is rebadged as several different things. So I'm pretty sure Schrader's is the exact same thing. There's a brand called like ATEQ, ATEQ, that looks like it's the same thing. It's rebadged as a bunch of different things, but this will do those sensors and a whole bunch of other sensors. It won't do the ones that are proprietary for like X-Tool and Autel, but it'll do basically any one that you go buy at the parts counter or off of Rock Auto. But that's what we use to program that with and check to see if they were working or not. The scan tool that we were using initially, our gear wrench tool, that was a swing and a miss. It was fine for getting codes and getting data, but we couldn't do the ID registration with it afterwards. It just kept failing and kept rebooting, saying that it couldn't communicate with the car when you try to do it. So busted out the trusty King Bolin K7. This is a pretty good tool. We don't use it that much, but I mean, it does a lot, and it's a great tool with lifetime updates. We'll stick both. If I can find these products in the product page, I'll stick links in them for you. That would help us out a little bit too if you decided to go that route. But anyway, the main reason that we made the video is because I don't want you guys spending 5 hours on what should be a very simple problem. If you don't have one of these, you can get and you're trying to figure out if it's a sensor or an antenna. One idea I had before I thought of this was to rotate the tires on whatever side it was. So if you had, say, a right rear that you were thinking, that wasn't reading, rotate the right rear and the right front, and then go through the initialization process again and see if the one that was on the right front worked on the right rear. That sensor and that antenna are good, then you have a bad sensor. So the reason that I bring that up is because I was talking to the foreman that I work with, and he said he had the same problem on a car, and it was the right rear. The right rear TPMS antenna is right beside the car antenna, and it had a bunch of corrosion and stuff in it. So he went down the same rabbit hole that I went down. So I don't want you guys wasting your time, and I'm trying to optimize your choices here. If you run into a problem where you can't get the sensor ID number and you go break the tire down and it's got an aftermarket sensor in it, I'm going to throw up the ID numbers that we got and what colors they correspond to so that you can try it. I have no idea if it'll work or not, but you're more than welcome to try it if you're desperate like we were. So we'll stick that up in a graph here now. But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap this one up for today. Hopefully we earned a thumbs up from you. Let us know what you think down in the comment section. We have new content for you every single week, so consider subscribing to the channel. And with all that being said, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.